Welcome in everybody to ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB Zach Brown, and joining with me as always is former 410 Sprint Cards crew chief and mechanic, my dad Jeff Brown. Messed up on the intro there, but we are back in action again this week. NASCAR had a kind of a wild weekend in Bristol. Some
Weird
sprint car
weekend.
news coming out. Some big wrecks happening in the drag racing world, and drag racing is going back to four wide for the countdown in Charlotte. So a lot to go over there. So let's hop right into it. Bristol brings back the soft tire like they did a couple springs ago, where it tore up all the tires and laid rubber down like no end. It did the exact same thing at nighttime. I remember when we had that discussion that was it tearing up because it was hot and slick. It was like the track temperature was like 120 that day. Maybe the nighttime would get better. It wasn't. It was all about conservation. It was just a very strange race. Wrecks happening early, people getting eliminated, people having a chance to advance, and then they have no tires left. So that tires were the big story about Bristol.
Yeah, it was weird. They were talking to the Goodyear engineer, and they were saying that they didn't expect it to be as cool as it was. But I don't think I mean, it wasn't like they were expecting 80 degrees and it was 30, so I don't think the air temperature and track temperature tore up the tires. I think they just messed up on that one. That did not work. We talk about we like having the tire fall off. Well, that was too much and to where it was dangerous and people blowing tires. And they actually had Goodyear had to mount another set for all the teams because they weren't going to have enough tires to finish a race. I mean, that was worse tire wear than it was in Darlington.
Yeah, it was bad. Oh, I mean, Darlington, it was wearing tires, not completely shredding the tires.
Right,
There's a
exactly. It
difference.
wasn't unsafe. It just slowed down.
Which
This was
obviously
after
right away,
unsafe.
and I should have thought about this for fantasy purposes. Softer tires just do not mix well with Kyle Larson's style of racing. He has to have the hard tires because he races a lot harder. He's not the best at conserving the tires, conserving the race car. He's got to go hard. And especially at Bristol, where he knows he's good at, and it's just frustrating that he couldn't get around it and getting caught up in some issues during the race. It seems like everybody did. We did pretty much predict that the Toyotas would be fast, and they were. And if anybody wanted to bet, apparently I was the one that had it right. So Christopher Bell ended up winning, and
Yeah.
I picked him to win the race, and that has never happened. So well, finally, I think I picked Bell about 10 to 15 times this year, and he finally
Sooner or
prevails and
later, you're
wins
going to
it,
hit one.
which he randomly comes out of nowhere at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
But he was good all day.
Keselowski had the strategy where he was probably going to very good shot to win it if it stayed green. If there's one person that was conserving the tires very well, it was him, and he had it set up to win if it went green. It did not go green. Alex Bowman had a chance at it. He needed to win. He gave it all he had. The team gave it all they had. Just came up just a little bit too short. Just wasn't fast enough at the very, very end to make anything done. But I mean, valiant effort by them. They finally at least got a good finish. It's a momentum to carry on for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. Everybody used to look so forward to the Bristol night race, and now it's kind of a dumb race. Last year Larson just stuck up the whole race, and this year was so many issues. They can't get something right, and it's really going to hurt the Bristol crowds. 'Cause that used to be sellout for years, and now you can walk right up race day and get a ticket, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
So,
mean they could probably it probably technically in their terms was a sellout, but they don't sell the first what 10 rows anymore.
or at least,
So
they block all them off. So
it's all the sponsors now, so it doesn't even hold nearly as much technically anymore. It's just kind of a shame because it's such a historic track. I still want to go to it just to say I've been there because it's really neat. But they definitely got to change something up. I don't really know. I don't know what they can do with Bristol to make it more exciting.
well,
I
the
really don't
the
know.
Xfinity race is just a much better race. It's just better racing all around. That car's just a better stock car to
Yeah.
race.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm kind of moving out from Bristol, but overall for the whole playoff format, they've tried it for what, a decade and a half now. It's it's starting to get to the point where it should go back to where you got to reward consistency, back to the old
Yeah,
standings.
it's stupid. I mean, I know it's TV ratings that draw it. They need to go back to the regular point deal, and the season needs to be done probably beginning of October.
And
You know,
I'll be honest, I
once
think the way
football comes on, it's just
well, I think
people are
the
losing interest.
I think the way that NHRA does it might be if you want to have kind of a mix in between both, that's probably the best way because you still reward consistency with that. Wins don't guarantee you to get in,
Yeah,
and then you have to be consistent throughout the countdown to have a shot to win it at the end. Kind of how they set up the chase originally when all this was going on. I mean, Mark Martin's a big advocate to get rid of the playoffs, and it's kind of dumb to really call it the playoffs, to be honest, because there's no plays in NASCAR. They just want
yeah,
to try to bring in familiarity with other sports and other crowds to try to bring them. But the thing is, if people haven't been watching NASCAR, they're not going to tune in just because you changed the name to a playoff and calling
exactly.
it overtime. That's dumb. I like it when they called it overdrive. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Uh, or just call it green, white, checkered finish. That's all you got
yeah.
to call it. You don't need to call it NASCAR overtime. Just there's just small things, but I think the whole playoff format because I was looking at it, the Winston Cup standings right now, there would be about four or five cars really in it battling for the finish right now. Chase Elliott had like a brief lead. Chase Briscoe was in the mix. Larson was in the mix.
Byron was up in there.
Yeah, so it would be interesting anyways. And you're gonna get years where people dominate, but that's how sprint car racing's always been. That's how it goes. Pretty much any other sport, any other racing.
IndyCar doesn't have any kind of a
No, I
countdown
mean
or
they crowned
chase
the
or
champion with what 4 or 5 races to go.
yeah. I mean,
So
unfortunately, it's going to happen sometimes when you get take like Alex Palou as the example. Just I don't know. NASCAR needs to change something, but it's TV ratings that's drawing it, and it doesn't matter what the fans or NASCAR wants. It's what TV wants, and unfortunately, I think that's actually hurting
well, people were
NASCAR.
able to bully Cracker Barrel to going back to their original
Yeah.
logo. So maybe there's enough outrage that could make NASCAR go back to the original. I don't know. Um, but moving on, looking ahead, sticking with NASCAR, looking ahead to New Hampshire, completely different style race. Tires definitely going to be different here. They'll probably bring a harder
Yeah.
tire. That's what they usually do here. And plus, the track doesn't wear as much as Bristol, Darlington,
Yeah.
all of that.
Slower, it's flat.
Yep, and expect what you saw at Gateway. Very similar cars to be fast here, and what the whole first round overall, the theme was Joe Gibbs, how fast they were, how fast the Toyotas were. Don't be surprised if they are in the running. Now, Penske has a history of running pretty well at New Hampshire too,
Yep.
foreshadowing probably to what I am picking this week. There's a hometown guy also, Joey Logano. He's hungry for a win. If there's any way, anywhere he can get some momentum going again, this would be the place. A lot of stuff can happen. There are 12 guys now. This is the round of 12. I had every single pick right in the round of 12 except SVG. I think you actually might have had every single one right. I don't, did you have SVG moving on or
No, I had him
so
going
you
out.
so you might have had a perfect one.
Yeah, I think I had the first four. The first four is not too difficult. It gets a little tougher now.
Well, I just did it because I was like, well, if SVG can have just a slight bit of consistency, he can make it through to the round of 12, and then
Yeah.
he could win the Charlotte Roval to move on to the round of 8. That was my bold prediction. Clearly, that's wrong. You got to try to get bold
Yeah,
with
you
it.
know what? He actually wasn't bad. He just had stupid stuff happen to him.
Yeah, the last 2 races, it just he was running well and then just fell off.
Yeah.
But that's something he's got to learn too. He's not used to the tire wear like it is in NASCAR compared to where he came from. They didn't really have to worry about trying to conserve, and it's way different making taking care of your equipment in road racing than it is to oval. So that's something he's going to have to learn. Obviously, I mean this is his first full year,
Yeah.
so I mean
No, he's a good
still
driver. I mean, I think he's definitely going to get better.
yeah, and now working with Connor, and Connor can give him some pointers next year moving into the Cup Series. I mean, Chastain is still there, so it's not like it's a bad group of people that got some
No,
good
that's a
drivers.
pretty
Good,
good team put together now.
yeah, they really do, and I think they've got some good they got some good things happening to them in the future. Um, but yeah, New Hampshire, like I said, expect the Fords and Toyotas. Maybe randomly a Hendrick or a non-playoff driver even. Randomly, you'll see one of the first four that always gets knocked out competes like very well in
Yeah,
the round of 12.
I could
And
see Josh Berry running well with this track.
yeah, and he didn't have any luck once
Now, that
again.
poor guy just could not catch a break.
No, but I think he's going to do well. Hopefully, the Wood brothers will stick with him for a couple years. I think he's a good driver. Uh, No, I like New Hampshire. It'll be a cooler track, and I mean, it'll be a sellout because there's nothing else. Well, I mean, I guess there is the Patriots. Well, actually, the Patriots have a home game, so that might be where all the Boston people and people, all of them are. Between that and the race, and I think New Hampshire's going out of the playoffs next year too. So this might be the last time in a little bit that New Hampshire has a playoff race.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I don't disagree with changing up the tracks on the playoff. That makes it a little nicer.
I'll be honest, New Hampshire probably my one of my least favorite tracks. I'm just gonna
Usually a boring race.
put that out there. Probably not as boring as when Jeff Burton led all 300 laps, but
Yeah,
um, restarts will be key, and how you can actually make a second groove, possibly a third groove compared to everybody else, because everybody's going to try to stick to the bottom.
yeah,
But if you're the one that's able to be in about the middle groove, that's where you can make moves in this. That
yeah.
being
This
said,
is going to
let's
be one of those tracks where you're going to see somebody probably go out to about a 7 second lead.
could
I'm
be,
guessing.
could be. Well, that being said, let's get into our NASCAR fantasy this week. If you follow me on NASCAR fantasy last week, I apologize because I was terrible. The last couple weeks, I've been terrible. It's been very weird. So
I
I'm
did
trying.
win, but that means this week I'm toast. So
Luckily, in this format, it still rewards consistency, so I'm still in the lead, but I'm losing ground. So let's figure out what we can do this week. Uh, for New Hampshire fantasy for NASCAR. So my starting lineup, like I said, I kind of foreshadowed it earlier, and I'm not even going to shy away from it. It's versus Toyota in this one. That's what we're really coming down to. And these are all playoff drivers. So my starting lineup for NASCAR Fantasy at New Hampshire, I have Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, and in my garage I have Austin Cindric. The feature matchups this week: Christopher Bell versus Kyle Larson. Go with the hot driver right now, Christopher Bell. Chase Elliott versus Chase Briscoe. It's the battle of the chases. I got Chase Briscoe in this one. Toyotas are just so good right now. Bubba Wallace versus Ryan Blaney, the two best friends. Well, I'm going with Blaney in this one, just a slight edge on it. I mean, just pure driver talent on that one. He's just a better driver than Bubba, but Bubba's been fast. I think Blaney is better in that matchup. Joey Logano versus Ross Chastain. Chastain does run well at New Hampshire, but it's hard to pick against the hometown guy. And Joey Logano just somehow finds a way in the round of 12, round of 8, and he might even find himself in the dang championship for Joey Logano over Chastain.
But we are a little bit different this week. So my starters, I have Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, and in the garage I have Larson. So in my feature matchups, we agree on a lot of that. I have Christopher Bell over Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe over Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney over Bubba, and Joey Logano over Ross Chastain.
All exactly the same.
Yep, they're
So
the
where it's
same.
different is the lineups a little bit. So hot pick this week, of course, is Denny Hamlin. I mean, he's getting it going. He announced that he will retire next year. So trying to finish strong. Christopher Bell, hot pick. Avoid Alex Bowman. Avoid William Byron. And the sleeper is Chase Briscoe. I probably
How
agree
do you
with
call
all
him a
of it.
sleeper anymore?
No, but I mean, I guess they had to put somebody in there. No, he's been good. He's really transitioned well over to Joe Gibbs. A lot of people question why they would go after him. Clearly,
I questioned it. I thought, really? But you know what? Son of a gun.
he's done well. I mean,
Yep.
shoot, he's got as good a shot at any to get
I
it done
think
this
so. He's
season.
been fast everywhere.
All right, so let's talk about drag racing real quick. We will be at the four wide this weekend. We're going for qualifying day on Saturday, so that'll be a lot of fun. We've done the last couple years. Get some trackside recordings, check some stuff out. Um, walk through the pits. It's really, really good experience. Really, when it's really nice, like it's supposed to be Saturday, it makes the experience really great. Drag racing just does it right, where you're able to go mingle into the pits and see
Yeah.
everything front and center.
Especially if you go on a qualifying day where there's going to be less people and it's way less stress, for the most part on the teams. It's easier to get in to talk to a driver and get some pictures.
Yeah,
You're in the middle of eliminations. They got a whole lot going on.
especially
Like,
after they make a first run and they're like, all right, the car's fine. We'll be fine for
yeah,
the next while. That's when they're just they'll get a lot of driver signings. And there'll be a lot of stuff to do there too. ZMX does a really, really good job. It'll be a
yeah.
sellout crowd.
But
Um,
this is the first they've had the four wides in the fall again. So they
yeah,
normally
so
don't
I
run four and then two.
I
So
like it because I mean you have the four wide. Why not just run it no matter what?
yeah,
I feel like it makes it go faster. I don't know if
it
it's more
definitely does because
stressful.
you
I don't know
lose
if it's more stressful on the teams or not. For fans' purposes, it's great. You see it and it all happens very quick, and I mean, it's badass. Let's be honest. It's four
yeah.
freaking top fuels at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
basically
damn cool.
50,000 horsepower all launching at the
Yeah,
same time.
that's something you don't ever get to see often. Top fuel, the biggest news from last week, a big crash happened up in Pennsylvania. Doug Coletta and Tony Stewart got together. Tony Stewart was knocked out, but he's had harder crashes in sprint cars, so he's fine. He'll be
Yeah,
fine in this week. Coletta made it through. He's made it to the finals. So Coletta's actually got a slight point cushion over Tony Stewart right now. Top Fuel's got a really good battle going between the top three, Coletta, Stewart, and Langdon. And of course, funny car. I don't have to be the one to tell everybody that Austin Prox in the points lead again
yeah.
still. But it's not a runaway by any means. The top five's all within 50 points, so it's pretty close. Pro stock, Dallas Glenn's kind of flexing his muscles, but you can't count out Greg Anderson. That's kind of how the spot he was last
It's
year.
between those two.
Yeah, and then randomly Greg Anderson, he was like this many points behind in the last two races, came back and won. So
Yeah.
don't ever count him out. And of course, and you know what's crazy? Matt Smith's leading the points in motorcycles. Uh, Gage Herrera's only is 6 points behind. So I mean, you can make that up. And shoot, I
And
think you get points in
qualifying.
qualifying. You
Yeah.
probably make that up in qualifying. So top four separated by 9 points. So that's really close in motorcycle. So you might see some good motorcycle action this weekend too.
But but on the crash between Coletta and Tony Stewart, it happened after they crossed the finish line. Doug Coletta's they don't really know if the tire blew first or the wheel broke or the suspension broke, but he lost basically left front wheel. So he was in the right lane. So it turned straight into Tony Stewart because they were basically side by side. So luckily, the parachutes were already out. And they hit, and Tony's right rear tire went up over Coletta's left rear tire, had Tony sort of head on, into the wall. And like I said, parachutes were out. They're still probably going 250 miles an hour or so right there or more. And came down, and so Doug Coletta, they actually let them come out with a backup car, and he made it into the final round. Got beat by Sean Reed, but still, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, Tony, they asked Tony, he goes, "I don't know what happened." He said, "The only thing I remember, they were waking me up alongside the track." So he's a little sore and banged his hand up a little bit, but luckily it happened while the parachutes were out. If that happened before and you get knocked out and you can't put the parachutes out, something really bad could have happened. So,
Well, he's got to go
hats
out.
off to the safety of those cars.
Well,
That's
I guess he got to go out with a bang because this is his last year, at least for now.
yeah.
Um, and we'll see if he does anything else in NHRA. I don't really know what his plan is. I think this is more of like kind of like a bucket list thing for him. That now that now that his wife's able to get back in the car and she'll probably pick up where he's left off. She's got to uh, prove that she's the best one, the fastest one in the family. So she's got to go at it and see what she can do. So maybe Tony gets back in the sprint car racing. Who knows what we will see
Never
him
know.
get into. I'm not sure. I'd like to see him maybe do some late model action, run around Eldora a little bit, some of the big races, but we'll see. IndyCar, quick news on that stuff. They've removed Iowa. They are not racing in Iowa next year.
That's a
And
shame.
yeah, well, you saw the crowd. It just was
Yeah.
terrible. And I think the tornadoes had a lot to do with it, but They just don't advertise well in an IndyCar.
You
Nobody
don't know
knows.
when they're on. It's just, NASCAR's just in your face all the time. You know exactly when they're going to be on. IndyCars, sometimes they race Saturday, sometimes they race Saturday and so it's hard and they're on actual network TV, which is
They
really
uh
weird. It's
they added some other road courses, street courses.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
agree with
so I
that,
think
but
it's more road courses than before, less ovals. I think some people are upset about that. Have wanted more ovals, obviously. Um, we'll see. I mean, that just puts it into Alex Palou's hands once again next year. But yeah, that was the big news. Iowa's not on the IndyCar circuit next year. And the big news out of the sprint car world, Rico Abreu, speaking of Tony Stewart in the NHRA, Rico Abreu has been picked up by Tony Stewart starting in 2026 season. We're not exactly sure if he's going to race in the 15 car or stays
no,
in his car, and Tony's
it's the
kind of like picking up.
24.
What's that?
He is running the 24,
So likely
and
Tony is going to supply a lot of the stuff for them, to help fund the team because it was their own team. Probably to help with the probably brand new transportation, brand new shop. Looks like Rico's going to have pretty much his whole crew back that he wants.
now,
That was probably part of the deal that he would have to have his team.
well, he's got arguably the best crew chief in the business right now with Ricky Warner. So, and I didn't see, but I'm going to assume they're still going to run high limits. So I think Tony Stewart's car is going to be off of Outlaws. Now, here's the only kicker we haven't heard yet. Tony's had two cars already. Does he bring a second car and maybe put Sheldon Haudenschild in to run the Outlaw circuit?
Good.
Put Sheldon in the 14. That's a
Very, very,
possibility. I
very
don't
good
know yet.
chance.
That hasn't been announced, but
I mean, it also kind of it depends on sponsorship. I mean, would Nos come back with Sheldon and want to sponsor
yeah, I don't know.
another
Could be.
year? If that was a Sheldon specific thing or if that was a team specific thing, that's to be determined. There's also Gio Scelzi out there that could potentially he's got to get picked up by someone too for full season. So I don't think he's been plucked for an actual full-time gig next year yet.
Yeah.
So his name's out
Some of
there,
that
and
depends if you know, I don't know if Tyler Courtney is going to come back. I mean, he's hurt his back twice now. At some point you got to be like, hey.
yeah, well, the back is what gets a lot of sprint car drivers and stops their career, which sucks because Tyler Courtney's, I think he's in his 20s if I'm not
Yeah, he's not.
mistaken.
No, he's not old, but he's had two back injuries at Eldora. I mean, let's face it, your health's more important than
Yeah,
being in a race car. So
I mean, there's plenty of flow racing, dirt vision. Somebody would pick him up in a heartbeat.
he was actually good in the high limit booth.
It threw me off because I was like, "Who's talking?"
Yeah, I forgot about it. I was like, oh, that's Tyler Courtney. So
Yeah. By
he
the
he
way,
brings.
Lernerville put on a hell of a show.
It was a great show.
Shout out to the 69K doing a really good job there. They had a shot at it of freaking Brad Sweet just mowed people down at the end. He had that thing rolling. And that's Brad Sweet's first win in a while. He's been kind of struggling this year, struggling.
Brad Sweet didn't win.
On Sunday he did. Let me check because I'm pretty sure I saw the
No, he
victory
did
lane.
not. Because
Because Rico
Tanner
was the other
Thorson
winner.
passed him, and
Not Rico.
then who passed Sweet on?
That
Oh,
guy.
Dason Pursley passed him on Sunday.
Not that you can find anything.
But yeah, Brad Sweet got passed twice with, like less than like 10 laps to go on Saturday and Sunday.
No, it was Tanner Thorson won.
Tanner Thorson won Saturday.
Yeah, where's the other day? Why can't I pull anything
It
up?
was the 13 of Dason Pursley. That was his first. That was Tanner Thorson's first high limit win and Pursley's first high limit
I
win.
could have sworn I saw Brad Sweet win somewhere, unless I was just looking at something else. But my bad. Uh,
An interesting thing about Tanner Thorson's car, that is a four coilover car. It doesn't have torsion bars. Not many sprint, especially wing sprint car guys, don't really run them. So it's pretty cool to see a four coil car go to victory lane.
okay, yeah. So yeah, Pursley. Yeah, what was I seeing?
I don't know. Yeah, Sweet was second.
Yeah, I don't know what I was looking at.
But there at
My
the
bad.
end, the top three were all pretty close together. So
Well, they're coming up on Lawrenceburg and then Eldora for the Four Crown Nationals. Wait, hold on, there I had. Oh yeah, so the Lawrenceburg tonight and Eldora Four Crown Nationals this weekend.
okay.
There's
See.
something else to watch this weekend.
Yeah, I think Persley is actually running a midget at Eldora.
Or if
I mean,
anybody's running
I
all
don't
of
think
them.
he's running all four, but
Well, we'll see what happens. So a lot of stuff to do. We'll get some trackside content for everybody at the
yeah,
four wide this weekend at Charlotte. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see you guys next week. Make sure you follow, subscribe, like, follow all that stuff on social media. And it comes out every Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever we can get it to you. So this one's going to be technically Wednesday, I guess, when it gets
yeah.
sent out to y'all. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.